Dear future me, will I ever smile again? Dear future me, will I die within? Will I be alright? Because I'm trying to maintain. I can't give up. I'm trying to conquer this thing we call life. And sometimes I just wonder, is it worth the fight? And as I was listening to this song, it hit home for me. And it really opened my eyes to the uncertainty of the journey that we are in, that me and so many others face on this journey to what we call as success, or to become the person that God wants us to be. And it's that uncertainty that sometimes just leaves some people stuck. It leaves some people stagnant. It's in the moment of your working day. It's in the moment of you working day after day. Or it's just you starting something new. And you asking yourself, man, should I keep doing this? Is it worth it? And then it leads you to start something new. But at the core of that thing is the uncertainty that you feel in this journey. But this is how the song proceeds to go. How will I know? Will I know? Will I know? Dear future me, where will I go? Where will I go? Will I go? Just think about that for a moment and see how that reflects with you. Have those conversations with yourself and just asking yourself, where will I go? Dear future me, talking to your future self. Where will I go? Where will I go? Where will I go? How will I know? How will I know? How will I know? And I think the answer to this is you won't. You don't know. But it's at that moment when you feel that way is where most people give up. And that's a reminder to myself, and that's a reminder to you. At that moment where you ask yourself, is it worth the fight? How will I know? At that moment is where most people give up. And you cannot afford to give up at that moment. I cannot afford to give up at that moment. When I hit that wall, or I'm scared to take that footstep forward, I can't afford to give up right there, because that's where most people give up. And if you can just break through that barrier, and then the hard part about it is, you never know how long it's going to be. But one thing I'm learning is this life is for the person that can endure. Sprinting means nothing if you don't have the endurance. Sprinting means nothing if you don't have direction. And if you don't have the direction to the calling of your life, you don't have direction to the purpose, the assignment that God has given to you, you're going to give up and you're not going to endure. You're going to be like 99.9% of everybody else who gives up at that point. Who gives up at that point of measure where it feels like it's too hard, because they don't have the confidence, because they allow uncertainty to overtake their faith. And at that moment is where you ask yourself your why. You remind yourself of your why. You just say, why am I doing this in the first place? Remind yourself of the burden that you hold. Remind yourself of the burden that moves forward that needle to achieve that purpose. Remind yourself of the why. We have to remember our why sometimes, because when we get to that feeling of uncertainty, it's hard. And I can confess it is hard. But you must keep going. And as true as it is, we forget. We forget that there's no other choice but to keep going. That 5 years, 10 years are going to pass anyway. So while we're in uncertainty, we might as well spend those 5 to 10 years that's going to pass anyway doing something that's worth doing. Doing something that's worth doing for the Lord. Doing something that's worth doing in our assignment. That's doing something that's worth in our purpose, that's in our calling. The time is going to pass anyway, but it's either you're going to use that time to push the needle forward, or you're going to sit in that time and just give up. The uncertainty is going to be there, but it's up to you as time passes forward. Are you going to take a step forward each and every day to overcome that uncertainty? And the problem is we want instant gratification. The problem is instant gratification will do nothing for you but harm you. We seek that short-term pleasure and substitute it for the pain of long-term. Instead, we need to feel the pain of the short-term for the justification, the gratification of that long-term. And it's in where you endure. So asking your future self is looking down on you, just asking yourself, man, I just need you to hold on. I just need you to keep going because time is going to pass anyway, but let's use this time to do something worth it. So the question is, why do we feel uncertainty? Why does it feel so hard? Why does the burden feel so heavy at times? Why do we want to give up? And in this video, I'm going to give you a 3-step framework that honestly I had got from Myron Golden. If you don't know who that is, great man, you should go watch some of his videos. But he got it from the Bible, which means credit really goes to God himself. But I'm going to answer the question, just help. Why do we feel so uncertain at times? And not always a solution to why you feel uncertain at times. But until you reach your level of success, most of the time, this is why. So it's be, do, and have. That is the 3-step framework. You have to become before you can do it, and then you have it. Being. First, you have to become the person God wants you to become. If you do not become the person God wants you to become, you will always be out of alignment. Before anything, you must be in alignment with God. You must let him work through you. Let him show you who you are and how to become that person you need to be. I'll give you an example. An apple tree, right? An apple tree has to be an apple seed in order to become that apple tree. You cannot be a orange seed and want to become an apple tree. The first step is you have to become that seed first in order to become that tree. And I'm gonna give you an illustration for that. Because most of us want to become that apple tree, but our thoughts, our habits, our identity are rooted in orange seed thinking. So therefore you will never grow apples, you will never grow into a apple tree. You first have to plant the right seed to become that person first, to establish your identity first before you become that tree that you want to be. Now, the illustration, just bear with me. Just bear with me. So look, let's say you are, so this is the ground. All right. This is you. This is you. You are a orange seed, but you're over here looking at this. You're looking at this apple tree, and you're just saying to yourself, "Man, I want to become just like this apple tree." Apple tree. This is you, the orange seed, and you're saying, man, I want to become just like this apple tree. But like I said, the problem is you can never grow into an apple tree because you're still an orange. Your identity, you have not become who you need to be to bear the fruit of a apple tree, if you get where I'm going at. But hypothetically, right? This is you as let's switch roles. This is you as the apple seed. You're looking at the apple tree, you like, man, I'm going to become that apple tree. But you're going to be, only reason you're going to be able to become the apple tree, you know why? Because you were the apple seed at first. You established yourself as the apple seed to therefore be that apple tree. And the thing about it is, even though it was like kind of a quick illustration, from that point of you being this apple seed to you becoming the apple tree, the thing is you never know how long it takes. And that's where most people get stuck. Becoming the person that you need to become always takes longer than expected. And I know in this season of my life, what I'm doing is just trying to steward what's around me, to steward what God has for me. Because to become the person that you need to become that apple tree, And right now, I'm the apple seed. To become the apple tree, it's going to take longer than what I expect. I've heard plenty times, man, if you can just do something for a long period of time, no matter if it gets boring, no matter how much you want to give up, that's when you obtain your version of success. Those 3, those 5, those 10-year periods. If you can just stay in something long enough, if you can just stay this apple seed long enough to spread your roots down to therefore become this apple tree long enough, you will then bear the fruit of an apple tree, but it takes time to become the person you need to become. While it's easier said than done, I would hate to be handed something and I just not know how to steward it. I would hate to be handed something big. I would hate to be handed something and I don't know how to use it because I haven't become the person that I need to become to handle that thing. Whatever that thing may be, fill in the blank for you. I would hate for you to be handed something big, to be in your having season and you don't know how to steward it because you have not become the person you need to become first. You must establish your identity. I'm gonna give you an example from the Bible. David in the Bible, when he defeated Goliath, right? Prior to that, mind you, he was the youngest of all his brothers. David was tending sheep, but he also had encounters with lions and bears. When they took the lamb from him, he went and chased after those lions and bears. Had David not become the man who could defeat lions and bears, how would he have the confidence to defeat Goliath? Had David become the person that he needed to be to defeat the giant, if he didn't fight those lions and bears? He had to become the person that he had to become a person that could defeat lions and bears before he jumped forth to defeat Goliath. And you know what happened in that becoming season of him defeating those lions and bears? He became the person that could take on and have the confidence to take on something bigger. But it's in that season of becoming that's the hardest part. And it's not knowing sometimes it's in that uncertainty that you're becoming the person that you need to become. You just can't see it yet. David didn't know that he was going to be fighting Goliath, but he stayed confident. He stayed faithful in the season that he was in to become the person he needed to be to therefore defeat Goliath and then become a king. Become first. And most of us, just to make a pivot, some of us fail at becoming. You know why? Because our desires are wrong. You're so focused on having, and it takes your focus away from becoming the person you need to be. And what I'm learning right now is becoming the person you need to be is a lot easier when you remove yourself from the benefit. When you remove yourself from the benefit, you lose the benefit of something when all you think about is the reward for yourself. Becoming will be a lot more easier if you focus on something bigger than yourself. Sometimes we just need to check our desires. What are you desiring? What do you want to have in this season of your life? What do you want to have in success? Sometimes you just need to check that. And it'll make becoming a lot more easier because the focus is not centered on you. You will lose the benefit when all you do is focus on yourself. You lose the benefit, you lose the reward when all you're doing is focusing on yourself and how it can benefit you, what you can have. Sometimes we need to check our desires before jumping into something. So therefore you can become the person you need to be and have it at the same time. Do. So from being, you must do. Once you become the person you need to be, you're not able to do what needs to be done. But first, it comes from becoming that person. And I hammer so hard at that because that's where most of us fail at. And it's just so hard because sometimes becoming is the hardest part because at that point, sometimes you get caught up in your head. But as you slowly progress forward, becoming then becomes effortless for you. And that is what makes doing a lot easier for you. It is not as hard as doing something when you have already become the person you need to be for that. Let's think about an example of you driving a car. Like when I was 10, I had not become the person that could get behind a wheel and drive a car yet. But from 10 years old to 18 years old, during that period of time, as I was becoming that person, once I hit 18, it made doing a lot more easier. I know that did not make sense, that my vocabulary was all over the place, but you get the point. In that season of life where I was becoming from 10 years old to 18 years old, I had to become the person that could get behind the wheel first. So now me at 20, it makes this stuff it makes it effortless. But before you do that, before I got behind the wheel to drive the car, I had to become the first person first. You be, and then the doing, it becomes effortless because you became that person you needed to be. I became the person I needed to be to get behind the wheel first. Now, at this age I'm at right now, getting behind the wheel, driving the car is effortless. It's not as hard. Some of us want to skip being and jump straight to doing and having, and then we get frustrated and wonder why? Man, why is this not working? Man, how do I overcome this? It's because you haven't become the person that you need to be to do whatever you need to do. Like, for example, I remember when I first started doing business competitions at A&T. As a freshman, I had no idea how to hop in and make a viable business. I had no idea how to develop a business plan. My first competition, I'm not gonna lie, I hated it. But the only reason why I hated it because I had not become the person I needed to become to win business competitions. Like my first one was online. We was online for a business competition for like 8 hours. Who wants to be doing that for 8 hours? But it was only frustrating to me because I had not become the person I needed to be to win a business competition or participate in one. I had not become the person I needed to be to write out a business plan or help assess a business problem. But now at this age right now where I won a business competition before, it's effortless because that time period of becoming, it made doing for me a lot more. It made doing a lot less effort for me. So we have being, doing, and having. This is where most of us want to jump straight into. When you jump directly into your future, it's because we hear our future calling us, but sometimes we want to fast forward into having it. We hear the future calling us, we hear our future calling us, but we want to jump fast forward into having it, and it messes up that whole process. We want the money, we want the house, we want the car, you want the job, whatever it is, but you can't have it until you became. And then after you become the person that can do it, and then you have it. We get that mixed up, and when you have it, just remember, it's not even yours to begin with. It's the Lord's. When you have it, it's not in your possession. You first and now have become the true apple from the previous illustration. Now is once it's in your hands, now you have it. You know why? Because you have became the apple that could bear fruit as an apple tree. And honestly, like when you look back, you realize you had a lot more fun in the becoming than the having. Like you hear it all the time, a lot of people, when they get to whatever goal they wanted to achieve, they say the fun was in the journey. And in that journey, that was them becoming the person they needed to be. So often, why do we want to skip to having? And in hindsight is 2020, we look back and say, dang, the most fun I had was in the becoming the person that I needed to be. Our future is calling us, but there's a process you cannot skip. It's a process we all must endure. This life is built for the person that can endure the longest and not skip steps. Skipping steps only makes the journey much harder and longer than what it was supposed to be. But together as one, if we can endure and become the person who we need to become to steward what God has for us, we will be okay. So I'll end like this. My future is calling. Your future is calling. My future is calling. I have to go. Your future is calling. You have to go. I can't stay here no more. You can't stay here no more. I can't stay here no more. I got to go. You have to go. Your future is calling you. But first, you have to become the person you need to be in order to steward what your future has in place for you. God bless, and I hope this helped. Be, do, and have.